Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the difference between static and instance variables in Java? Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. So what is the difference between static and instance variables? So instance variables belong to object memory, whereas static variables belong to class memory. Here, it's not class variables, it's static variables. Static variables belong to the class memory, whereas instance variables belong to the object memory. Coming to the static variables, they belong to the class memory because that is going to be a common memory. Okay, for all the objects, okay, for all the objects, if you want a common value, then you will not store that particular value in an instance variable. Rather, you will specify the static keyword before that particular variable and make that particular variable a static variable which belong to the class memory. Okay, common stuff should be part of the class memory, which are the stuff which can change from object to object. For every object, if the values are changing for that particular variables, such kind of variables we have to declare them as instance variables. The variables whose value will be same for almost all objects, that kind of variables should be stored as part of the static variables. Okay, so static variables belong to the class memory, that is common memory, whereas instance variables belong to the object specific memory. Let me explain all this stuff in a step-by-step practical manner so that you will be able to answer this particular question in a better way. Okay, for that I'll switch to the Eclipse IDE, guys, and here I'll expand this. Already one kind of package is there. So modifiers, in that modifiers package, I'll create one sub package, guys. I'll just create a sub package. I'll just name, okay, name this as dot something, anything you can say. Let's say it's already 7 is done. 8, I'll say 8 is not there. Some sub package 8. I'll create a new class here, guys. I'll create a new class. I'll just name this class as, let's say, car class. With this example, right, I will definitely understand when to make a particular thing as a static variable and when to make particular variable as an instance variable. You will clearly understand now, guys. Let me create this car class. This car class I'm going to use as a template or blueprint or plan or factory for creating objects. So let the car class get created. Once the car class got created, guys, inside the car class, I'll create some variables, guys. String company of the car, then string, what is the next one? Model. Generally, we deal about whenever you say about a car, right? You generally say company, model, then double mileage, int price, or double price here. Okay, double price. Then string color, Then the other can be int wheels, number of wheels. Okay, like this, some sample variables I created, guys. You can create hundreds of variables for the car class template, but I'm only taking few as an example. Here, along with this particular variables, guys, I'm also creating some methods, guys, like public void start car. Okay, here I'll simply write down system.out.println car from company. Which company? This company, this particular company, and having model. Which model? Having which model? This particular model. This particular model has started. Okay, then I'll create one more public void stop car. Here I'll write down system.out.println car from company, that is plus company variable. This is an instant. All these variables are global variables, guys. All these global variables are instance variables. Okay, if you don't specify any static keyword before any of these global variables, they become the instance variables automatically, guys. Okay, these are called as instance variables. Okay, so variables can be, I'll give you some examples here, guys. Variables can be categorized into two types at a high level. One is local variables, other one is global variables. One is local variables, is one type. Other one is global variables. Other type is global variables. Okay, one is local variables, other one is the global variables. The variables that are created inside the methods are called as local variables. The variables that are directly created under the class and outside the methods are called as global variables. For example, here, all these variables are global variables because they are directly created directly under the class and outside these methods. If you create a particular variable here, like if a is equal to 5, something like this variable a is a local variable, okay? But here all these variables are created outside the methods and directly inside the class. They are called as global variables. And these global variables can be categorized as different types, okay? That is, one is instance variables, which belong to the object memory, whereas other one is a static variables, guys. Static variables which belong to the class memory, which are common variables, which static variables are common with, they belong to the common memory, that is a class memory. Static variables, guys. If you specify the static keyword before these global variables, they will become the static variables. If you don't specify the static keyword before these variables, they become the instance variable. Both static variables and instance variables are global variables, but instance variables doesn't have the static keyword before them, whereas global variables having the static keyword before them are called as static variables. Okay, fine. Anyhow, for now, all these variables are of instance variables type, and I'll give you one example, guys, where you have to create the static variables having model. Which model? This instance variable model plus model plus has stop. Like this, I created some methods, guys. Okay, I created start car and stop car methods, guys. I'll also create one more method like print car details, okay, or get car details, whatever it is, get car details. Like this, you can create a method, guys. Okay, and here, whenever someone calls this particular method, right, all the details of the car should be printed. Let's say company of the car, company of the car is plus company. Okay, then system.out.println model of the car is plus model. Then system.out.println, then mileage of the car is plus mileage. Then system.out.println price of the car is plus price. Okay, plus price. Then system.out.println color of the car is plus color. Then last one, system.out.println number of wheels of the car are plus this wheels instance variable here. Okay, like this I created, and in the final, right, I'll just for separation purpose, I'll add this line, guys. Okay, fine, this is all good. I created a car class template. You can see the car class template here. This is a car class template containing some sample variables and sample methods here. Now I'm going to create another class. I'll just name this class as demo class with some main method I'll create, so that I can create an object for this class and access these variables and methods and run the code. Okay, that's the reason I'm creating here. Now, guys, in this kind of situation, I'll just minimize this one. In this kind of situation, guys, okay, here I can create objects here using this car class as a template. I can create objects here, guys. For example, if I want to create an object for one of the real world object, let's say one of the car in the market that is there in the market, car HAMZ. This Honda company's Amaze car, okay? Honda company having the model as Amaze. I'm just creating an object, guys. New car. Otherwise, yeah, Honda Amaze is called new car. I'm creating an object here. The moment I create an object, guys, in the computer memory, guys, let's assume that this is a computer memory. This is a complete computer memory. In the computer memory, some memory will be allocated to this particular object, okay? This particular object, new car, right? New keyword will create an object for the car class, this particular class, and some memory will be created. Let's assume that this is the object one. Okay. Now, if I say HAMZ dot company is equal to Honda, what will happen? The moment I say here HAMZ is object reference, which is referring to the memory location of this object one. So HAMZ is the object reference, guys. HAMZ is the object reference. Using this object reference, we can locate this particular memory and access all the variables and methods of that particular object. Okay. Now here HAMZ dot model is equal to Honda Amaze. Amaze is a model. Let's say Amaze is a model. Then HAMZ dot mileage is equal to, let's say, 14.5 kilometers per liter is a mileage, okay? And HMZ dot price is equal to let's say 9 lakhs. Then HMZ dot color is equal to then gray color. Then HMZ dot wheels is equal to number of wheels of the car are 4. Like this, I'll create, guys, all these variable values that are initialized for this particular object. They will be stored in the, since these particular variables are instance variables, the values of these particular variables for this particular object will be stored in this object memory. So here see, guys, what will happen. Company is equal to Honda. Model is equal to Amaze. Then mileage is equal to 14.5. Then color is equal to gray color. Price is equal to 9 lakhs. Okay, 9 lakhs is the price. And then wheels is equal to 4. Like this, I'll create. Okay, like this, the values will be stored because all these variables are the instance variables in that particular object memory. The values of this particular variables will be stored. Now, if I want to access the start car, stop car, get car details, right? Using the object reference, I can say HAMZ dot start car, HAMZ dot stop car, HAMZ dot get car details, Like this, I'll write. Okay. This is one object. So if I run the code, you see all the details of the car will be printed. Whatever the instance variable values I created, right, they will be retrieved and printed for this methods. You see, you can clearly see that what is the output we got. Car from the company Honda and having the model. Amaze has started. Car from the company Honda and having the model. Amaze has stopped. Company of the car is Honda. Model of the car is Amaze. Mileage of the car is 14.5. Price of the car is 9 lakhs. Color of the car is gray. Number of wheels of the car are 4. That's good. Now I'll create one more object, guys. Car. Otherwise, I'll simply make this, guys. I'll just copy paste these lines so that I can save some time here. I'll just name this as BMW X1. Okay. Now I'll create this BMW X1 dot company, BMW X1 dot model, BMW X1 dot mileage, BMW X1 dot color, BMW dot X1 dot wheels, BMW dot X1 dot start car, stop car, and get car details. Here I'll say BMW is a company and X1 is a model. And the mileage is only 12 kilometers per liter, and the cost of the car is around 60 lakhs, and the color of the car is black. Let's say black. Okay. And the number of wheels of the car is 4, and remaining all are same. So run this code here, and you'll see that for these two objects, you see all the details are coming, right? So in the computer memory also, when you create another object for the car class, right, this is what is going to happen. Object 2 will be created, guys. Object 2 will be created. Object 2 memory will be allocated, and the object reference for this object 2 is BMW X1 is object reference. BMW X1 is the object reference of this particular memory allocated to this particular object. And here all the car details will be stored. That is company is equal to BMW, and model of the car is equal to X1, and mileage of the car is equal to like 12, and color of the car is black, and then price of the car is 60 lakhs. Okay, 60 lakhs, and wheels of the car are 4. Number of wheels of the car are 4. Now, like this, I can create any number of objects, guys. I can create any number of objects. Okay, I'll create a few more objects, guys. Okay, few more cars, real world cars. I'll just represent here. Let's say I'll just take this as HY i20, Hyundai i20. Let's say. Okay, I'll just copy this and give all this Hyundai i20 object reference to initialize the variables, instance variables for that particular object. Okay. Then here I'll say HYU and A Hyundai, and here i20 is a model, guys, and here number of kilometers is 11, let's say, and the price of the car is like 11 lakhs. Okay, the color of the car is white, let's say, and number of wheels of the car are 4. So what happens here, guys? Another memory will be allocated here. Another object will be created, and for that particular object in the computer memory, some memory will be allocated. This is object 3, guys. This is object 3. Okay, I'll create few so that to understand the difference between static variables and instance variables, right? This kind of example is really required, guys. That's why I'm explaining all this stuff. Just be with me so that you'll understand the actual understanding of what is a static variable and instance variables. If you simply give the definitions as an answer in the interviews, right, you may not be confident. with this explanation, it should be very clear for you. Company is equal to HYUNDA, Hyundai, and model of the car is I-20 is a model of the car. And then mileage of the car is equal to, mileage of the car is 11, and the color of the car is, mileage of the car is 11, and color of the car is white. And then price of the car is 11 lakhs. And then wheels of the car are 4. Okay. Now, this particular memory allocated to this particular object 3 is referred by this object reference known as HYI20 is the object reference. Okay. HYI20 is the object reference of this particular object, okay, to which memory is allocated. Now, four cars I am creating, 4 different type of real world cars I am representing here. What is that? Swift, Maruti Swift VDI, okay, SVDI, MS VDI, okay. I'll just give this object reference MS VDI. Just give that here. Let's give that object reference, okay. And using this company, I'll say it as Maruti, okay. Maruti Swift. Here model is Swift VDI is a model. Swift VDI is a model, and mileage is like 24 kilometers, 24.32 kilometers per liter, and price of the car is 8 lakhs, let's say, and the color of the car is red color. Number of wheels of the car is 4. If you give all these different details for this instance, you see all these instance variables are holding different values. You see, first object is having Honda Amaze 14.59 lakhs, and all different values are there, and for second object, the class variables are holding different values, and for the third object, class variables are holding different values for this particular object, and hence they are stored in the object memory. And for the four, so here how many are there? HMZ, BMW, X1. Okay, I think I have done some mistake here. I'll copy this and say Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Which one is coming here? Hyundai i20, Hyundai i20, Hyundai i20, Hyundai i20. Okay, this is what is the thing. And last one is this one, guys. Actually, car MSVDA. I just pasted here so that we have 4 cars here. Okay, each one holding the different type of values for this instance variables. And here, when I create an object for this, Maruti Swift VDA and all these things, some computer in the computer memory, some memory will be allocated to the object, and here object 4, for the object 4, some memory will be allocated, guys, to the object 4. The memory will be allocated in the object memory, guys. In the object memory, you will see that company is equal to Maruti, and model is equal to Swift VDI is a model, and mileage is equal to 24.32 kilometers per liter, let's say, and then color of the car is red color, and price of the car is 8 lakhs. I'm just giving some random numbers, guys, okay, and the number of wheels of the car is 4. Okay, this is what is the mileage, okay. Well, values of the instance variables that they got stored, and the object reference for this object memory is MSVDI. MSVDI is the name of the object reference which is referring to this particular thing. Okay, that's all good, guys. That's all good. Now, guys, if you clearly observe, guys, company value is changing. Company is Honda for the object 1. Company is BMW for the object 2. Company is Hyundai for the object 3. Company is a Maruti for the object 4, which is changing for every object. So this company is eligible for being an instance variable. So it has to be an instance variable because for every object, the value of this particular company is getting changed from Honda to BMW to Hyundai to Maruti, like that. Okay. Model is also changing. You see, Amaze, X1, i20, and Swift VDA model is also changing. Mileage. What about mileage? Mileage value is also changing. 14.5, 12. Here something like 11. Here 24.32. Like that. Mileage is also price. What about price? Price is also changing from object to object. 9 lakhs, 60 lakhs, 11 lakhs, 8 lakhs. Price is also changing. What about color? Color is also changing. Gray color, black color, then white color, red color. Colors are also changing. What about wheels? Wheels is equal to 4. Here also same. Wheels is equal to 4. Wheels is equal to 4. Wheels is equal to 4. No matter whatever the other variable details are changing, but wheels details are not changing, guys. So do you get a feeling like you are wasting the memory here for the wheels? Wheels is equal to 4. Every object you are storing the same value. Wheels is equal to 4. Wheels is equal to 4. Wheels is equal to 4. Unnecessarily, you are wasting the computer memory here by creating the wheels by using the wheels as an instance variable, because it's part of the object memory means it's duplicated here. You see, the same value is duplicated here. But for all the cars, wheels is called 4. Almost all the cars in India, right? Wheels will be 4. Okay. So that means these wheels shouldn't belong to some common memory. Object memory is not a common memory, guys. It's object specific memory. For a class, multiple objects can be created, and the memory for every object will be different. So these values will be stored differently. Why? Because they will keep changing for every object. But what about wheels, guys? It's a common value 4 is there, guys. We cannot make this wheels part of the object specific memory because we generally prefer to store the kind of variables whose value keep changing in the object specific memory, but wheels is such kind of variable whose value is not changing here. So what I can do is I can, whenever you create a class, guys, whenever you create the class, public class car like this, some memory will be allocated to the class. Okay, some class one. When you create a class, right? Some class one, I can write it here, like class one. Some memory got allocated for the class one, guys, and how to refer to this particular memory, guys? Using the name of the class. Using the name of the class, you can refer to this particular memory location. And now I don't want the wheels to be stored as part of the all these individual objects. Rather, wheels should be part of this common memory known as a this class memory. To make the wheels part of this class memory, to make the wheels part of this class memory, have to add a keyword known as static keyword before the variable. Static keyword before the variable. What if I give this static keyword before the variable and assign some value like 4 here? I don't have to initialize here, guys. I don't have to initialize this particular variable here anymore. Okay, just remove this initialization. For remaining all these things have to initialize, but for wheels I don't have to initialize for every object. Okay, wheels I don't have to initialize for every object, guys. And if I have to refer to this particular number of wheels, right, directly you can use wheels here. Okay, you can use wheels here. That's one thing, one way. Or if you don't want to print here, let's say the wheels details you don't want to print here, let's assume that. Okay, how did you access the instance variables, guys? Using the object memory, right? Using the object memory, you have access the instance variables. But wheels is no more a instance variable. It's a static variable, because I mentioned static, right? Before the global variables, I mentioned the static keyword means it becomes a static variable, which is which stores a common value and which stores the common value in the class memory. In such kind of situations, I'll write down, instead of using the object reference, I should not be using the object reference to access the static variables. Static variables should be accessed with the help of the class name. So here I'll simply write down system.out.println car.wheels. Okay, using the class name I have to call, guys. Okay, here also same thing, guys. I should not be using the object reference because object reference is used to access the variables which are of instance type. Okay, you can even access the class variables also, static variables also, but you will get some warning messages. It's not a recommended procedure actually. You have to access the static variables, which is a which stores the common value for all the objects here. Okay, and stored in the class memory. Okay, those are called as static variables, guys. Okay, for all these cars, only the same wheel score is there. So why to waste the memory here? Why to waste the memory in the instance memory? Why to waste this instance memory here? Rather move this wheels into this class memory by making that particular variable as static, right? You will move to the class memory and you can access that. Okay, so that is one difference. Other difference between the instance variables and static variables is, okay, accessing the, okay, we have to use object reference to access the instance variables. Okay, instance variables. Whereas what we have to use to access the static variables, we have to use the name of the class to access the static variables. Okay, these are some differences, guys. Okay, what is the difference between the static variables and instance variables? If someone asks you, right, instance variable belong to the object memory, which is a non-common memory, which is object specific memory. A class can have multiple objects having its own memories. So in that object specific memories, if you want to store the variables, you have to make that particular variables as instance variables, where the instance variable values will keep changing from object to object. In that case, that variable should be an instance variable. What if the value of that particular variable is common across all the objects? In that cases, you have to make that particular variable as a static variable, and it belongs to the class memory, which is a common memory and will be common for all the objects here. Such kind of memory is a common memory, which is a class memory. The moment you create an object, moment you create a class, right, this common memory will be created, and the static variables values will be stored in the common memories of the class. And how to access this? Static variables? By using the class name, we have to access. How to access this instance variables? By using the object reference, we have to access the instance variables. If you can explain this much of differences, right, you are good in the interviews. Okay, this is the knowledge that interviewers are expecting from you guys. Okay, as part of the, okay, a lot of definitions will be there, guys. If you just give the definitions, right, that will make the job, that will not make the job easier, guys. Okay, you have to make sure that you know the concepts, why we have to provide static, and what is the reason. Common values should be stored in the static memory, which is a class memory, whereas values which change from object to object for the variables of a particular class, that kind of variables we have to make them an instance memory, instance variables, and the instance variables should be accessed outside the class with the help of object reference. This static variables outside the class should be accessed using the class name. Okay, so if you can explain this much of differences, and with this example, if you can explain right in a detailed manner, then definitely the interviewer will get impressed. You can take the screenshot of this code, guys. You can take the screenshot of this code and practice in your machine. Okay, practice in your machine, and also you can take a screenshot of this memory allocation and all. Okay, why we have moved the wheels into the common memory, and that is class memory, and the static memory also we call sometimes. Okay, once we make this as static variable, it moves to the class memory. You can take a screenshot of this one also. Okay, so this one also you can take a screenshot, guys. You can take a screenshot of this one. Okay, like this, you can take a screenshot of this first particular stuff. Okay, okay, fine. So this is the thing, guys. This is the thing. I'll also provide this screenshot. Control A, Control C, and here in the notes I'll provide. Okay, this diagram I'll provide here so that you can understand what's the, why we have to make a particular variable as static variable. Wheels is one such superb example that you can give in the interviews to explain the interviewer that why we have made the particular variable as a static variable, and what is the difference between the static variable and instance variable. One more thing you can also mention is that both the static variables and instance variables are come under the global variables. They are created outside the methods and directly under the class. They are not local variables. They are global variables. If you put static keyword before the global variables, that will become the static variables. If you don't put static keyword before the variables which are directly created under the class, that is global variables. If you don't provide a static keyword, they are instance variables. If you can give all these things right, you know, they'll understand that you have profound knowledge on this static variables and instance variables in Java. So with practical demonstration and theoretical explanation, okay, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.